radio fans, GroundZeroMerch.com is your one-stop shop for all things Ground Zero.
Oh, wow.
Show off your style with us.
You have entered the paradigm shift, a timely show with the current environment society is experiencing today. With important changes in our culture, we are being conditioned to change our way of thinking, catapulting us into a new, unknown future. Navigate with me, JP, as we journey through this new world every Saturday night between 6 and 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tonight's show is called Music, the Illuminati's Secret Weapon. Hour one, our special guest, Eileen Motok, singer, composer, and in hour two, Jimmy Jean, host of Into the Microcosm. I'm sorry. Hold.
I mean, it's like the same thing that we do to black people with the Illuminati. We only say,
Lord have mercy.
You can't be successful
unless you're an Illuminati.
Which means
you got to be gay.
If you're black.
Yeah, and you have to kill somebody.
But there's like full-on death metal bands that openly worship the devil. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all they talk about is hell, Satan, and all this. But no, they're fine. That's just what people are into. So they're rich because they're rich. But we're rich because
we sold our soul.
Yeah.
But that's people who have never achieved any level of success, so they got to make excuses for their own failure.
Which is why you can't let them people determine how your day goes.
Can I look at you? Like, how long you been? You've been in the game since what?
Since 2005.
So what's the 14 years?
14 years.
14 years.
Yeah.
And you still have a long career. Like, you got to look at people's whole totality of things that they've done. And you ever seen that interview Jay-Z did when he talked about people being in that white hot space once and you only but you play for forever?
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's how things work when you see the patterns. When you learn the patterns and you learn how things have gone and you know where your success is going and you can plan for the future and you can do these things, but people that haven't been through that spectrum and people that haven't been through those situations, they don't know where things are going. You can already see the future if you've seen the patterns before. So it's about who notices that, who executes it accordingly. And, you know, when you get out of that space, you either try it again or bow out gracefully. Mm-hmm. You know, and you can make that choice, but the thing is, a lot of people let strangers and fans make that choice for them, and that's just not fair. That's not cool.
So he came in before her, and I had mentioned to her that he was very nice, but really eccentric when I was talking to him, kind of nutty. And she said, well, you know, there's a lot of people who have been around the record business for those many years, and most of them are kind of nutty. It just, you know, it makes people nutty.
Yeah.
I mean, you're facing that. That's your future.
Yeah, that's my future. Hopefully we'll put out Metal Machine music next year, you know. I don't know. Either I've accepted it or I've gone beyond insane to where I can deal with it emotionally. I really don't care. I know that I'm too stubborn to allow myself to ever compromise our music or, you know, get so wrapped up in it and involved to where it's going to, you know, turn us into big rock stars. I mean, I just don't feel like that. Everyone else accuses us of it, but, you know, we're not as popular as everyone thinks, or we're not as rich as everyone thinks, you know? It's just, we've always had a good sense of humor. I don't think that's been translated very well, you know, but we'd rather laugh about it. Ha ha ha. 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 Ha ha ha.
You can't hide from me.
can't hide. Come here. You can't hide from me. I want your soul. I want your soul. I want your soul.
You are listening to The Paradigm Shift. I am your host, JP. Happy to be here tonight. I have the honor of serving you on this mighty ship called The Paradigm Shift. I was recently asked why I refer to the Paradigm Shift as a ship. Well, listen, friend, I am a boatman, love the water. So there you go. And you can trust this mighty vessel as we drag through the murky waters of hell. We're bringing dark to light. You too have a mission, my friend. Your duty on this mighty vessel is to now share those links. groundzero.radio, groundzeromedia.org, Studio JFM, of course, our little giddy up, and that way others can enjoy the show too. Folks, this is not a drill. We are at war. We are absolutely at war. Hold on, I'm fixing cameras. If you guys have been tuning in all week, you've been hearing a lot of all kinds of weird, like shows, replay, all kinds, because we're upgrading this joint. And we thank you for that. We're broadcasting live, Studio J, Rio Rancho, New Mexico. It's Saturday night. We're at the iBugGuy Network Studios. iBugGuy leader in pest control since 2013. Look it up. Give us a call. All kinds of services going for the winter. We appreciate everybody that uses us. Studio J also is coming upon its 2-year mark. And I got to tell you guys, I just never envisioned anything. This is crazy. It's just all nuts to me. And I appreciate that, we wouldn't be here without you guys because we're listener supported. And that's not just money. That means people come to listen, and you guys keep coming back. I have no idea why, but I appreciate it. So we thank you guys that listen to StudioJFM.com, our little internet radio home, and it is the home of the Paradigm Shift, as you know. And it's not just locals; they're catching on, but this thing goes nationwide and global. So it's a freebie. Use it, abuse it. It's there for you. All right, so what do we got here? The masses, get the information out, the place you can come for the greatest network program, blah, blah, blah. Clyde Lewis, Art Bell, Diane Bongino, Michael Savage, just to name a few. We have a nice lineup. Go check out the schedule. It's good. It's good. Now, I got to haul butt because we have 2 guests tonight. Oh, but I have to say, would you please sub us at aftermath.media? It really helps the programming and all this and the network and everybody. Well, then we can do this for you. If you believe in us, please sub up aftermath.media. So our first guest tonight, we're going to just jump right into it. Remember, I have to say there's no racism, hate, cussing, da-da-da-da-da. We keep it clean, Jesus, watch, blah. Okay, there you go. We have 2 guests tonight. Our first guest tonight is Eileen Motok, and she is a singer and a composer. She's in a band called Mixtape. You can head out on Facebook and check them out. They have a page. Everybody's got a page, right? And they play out in Ohio. So I know some of you folks out there are listening from Ohio. So give me a secondary sec here. I got to shut. Oh, and Aftermathers, we're not going to be on GZTV tonight, just so you know, because we have 2 Zoom calls. But I will get it up to Aftermath as soon as this show's over, and it'll be up so you can watch it there. Okay, hold on, guys. I have to turn off one and turn on the other. Here we go. Starting that meeting now. Okay, I'm in the door. I got to hit record. Hello. Record on this.
Recording in progress.
Okay, so we are just waiting right now for the moment. I thought she was in here. Hold on, I'll send her a quick text. This whole Zoom thing is not, well, it's not perfect. I'm in there. It's still spinning around. Okay. Why don't you try to log back in, Eileen, because I don't see you in the room. Oh, wait, there you are. Ha! Here we go, guys. This technology, right? Eileen, all right, you're almost in. Welcome. All right, just need your audio. Hello. Hold on, folks. We're having a little technical difficulty here. The show is about the Illuminati in the music industry, and I think we have a mic. Okay.
Hold on, folks. We're having a technical difficulty.
You have to turn off something there. We have an echo.
Okay.
There we go.
Start video.
Hey. All right. Well,
how are you?
Welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Hey, nice to meet you finally.
Right, sure, of course. We're Facebook friends. So,
I know, right?
So go ahead.
Go ahead. I think we've been friends since about 2019 or 2018 when I had the great defriending, and then I friended a bunch of patriots.
Oh, there you go.
I think you were in that load.
I was in the defriending or the
yeah.
Oh,
no, was? The friending the patriots. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome back. So tell the audience about you and a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, and then we'll go into your story.
Okay. Well, currently I'm 54, and I'm about 3 years ago, I decided I want to jump back into the music industry or into performing, basically. And after a long hiatus. And I'm currently in a local band, rock and pop punk. It's super fun.
Cool.
It's called Mixtape. And then I'm also in the studio right now. I have 2 singles coming out.
Good.
One is like a piano ballad. It's actually my first song.
Okay.
It's a God song.
Ah, cool.
And then the other one is a pop punk song. So.
Nice. God song and a pop punk song. Perfect. All right. Well, you got
right.
both ends covered. So you're a singer, right?
Yes, singer and songwriter.
And songwriter. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And where do you guys play? You got like a little tour that you do locally?
This is our first full year performing.
Wow, cool.
So we're just kind of getting started. We plan to play regionally, but right now just mostly in Columbus.
Okay.
Our next show is December 16th in Mount Sterling, which is just south of Columbus.
Okay, cool.
And it's December 16th at Hammer Time Pub.
Nice. Yeah. And you look like you have a good time when you're performing, for sure.
Yeah, I do. Very fun.
Yeah. So how did it all start for you?
Well, do you want to hear my story, or?
Let's do it. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Tell us the stuff.
Well, let's see. So in 1993, I just graduated from college at OSU, and I was just like living in a party house and
Okay.
hanging out, doing lots of drugs, and basically no direction. Even though I had a business degree, I was like delivering pizzas or something.
Wow.
I was just kind of like, I don't know what I want to do with my life, you know?
Sure.
And I hadn't sang since like 8th grade choir or something like that.
Okay.
So I didn't have any like thoughts about performing or singing at the time. So it's like 1993, I was at this big house party, and it was my house, but I lived with like 5 different people. You know, we were smoking pot, drinking, taking LSD. I think there was a lot of cocaine there. It was a big party. And I decided I was kind of done for the night. I went up to my room, and like actually these stories like shaped my whole decision on becoming a musician. So I went up to my room, and I was listening to the radio and just trying to like calm down and stuff. I started like seeing all these blue and red lights going through my body, like
whoa,
like waves and like.
Okay.
like energy lines or red and blue lights. And I was like, what is going on? And like, I just like, I closed my eyes and I just started seeing like, it was like a vision, like a movie screen.
Whoa.
And like, I had done LSD prior to that, but you know, I'd see some colors and stuff and
Nothing
things
like
were
this.
weird, but nothing like this. So then, I made some notes, but
Exclusive collection of t-shirts and hoodies. They're not just comfortable, they're conversation
Me and you and a bunch of our friends across the nation.
okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, say hey to everybody.
Okay, so like I started hearing like people, like it was like communication. I was seeing a lot of visuals. I was listening to the radio and there was like a commercial on or something.
Okay.
So, and like these voices started kind of speaking to me.
All right.
And they seemed really benevolent, you know, it wasn't anything bad. And like one of the first messages was like, music is the voice of the universe.
Oh, wow.
Music is very powerful. Like even these commercial jingles have like incredible power.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the intention behind the music is important. Like whatever a person is doing behind the music, like kind of decides whether it's for good or bad. And then it was like, then just saying like all music is powerful, either one way or the other.
Right. It is.
And then like something like it's important to sing about peace, love, and understanding. It was kind of like that song was popular.
And this is the vision you were having when you went to your room, and these are the things you were. Wow, this is deep.
And the I've never really told. I've only told a handful of people this story.
Oh wow! Oh,
and they're always like,
you.
"What are you talking about?"
We're honored you're sharing this with us. Really, thank you. It's awesome.
And then it was like there, and then it was like it was all this happy stuff, and then it got dark, and there was like pointy, metallic kind of images and a lot of darkness, and then they were saying something like, "There's a lot of lost souls. There's people that are just lost. They're just swimming around," and it said something like this person who was at that party, like he's one of those people. He's kind of like lost in darkness or whatever. And then like the song Under Pressure came on.
Okay.
And like the message from that song, like I started seeing this bottleneck and there was like souls stuck in the bottle.
Okay.
And they were like trying to go through this one little point.
Whoa.
So, and then like I started going up and up, like farther and farther and farther out of my body. And I was just like, wow, it was just like bliss and just like the most best feeling you could possibly imagine.
Wow.
And like these voices or whatever, they're like, no, it's not your time yet. They were like kind of pushing me back down.
Okay.
They're like, no, it's not your time yet.
Oh, so you were crossing over.
And they were like, you know, go back down. They were like real gentle, go back down, go back down. And they made a point to tell me that I wasn't Jesus, because I was like, wow, what am I? What is this? You know,
really? Wow.
Like all this, like, wow, what is this? You know, it was just like this, who am I? You know, like this crazy, blissful, crazy feelings.
Wow.
So they were like, you're not Jesus. You're not Jesus.
Okay. They're
go
just
back
calming
down.
you down,
Like
man. Calm down now.
So they like kind of gently guided me back down. So that was like that.
Wow.
I came back down and I kind of got back in my body and I was like, what? You know, I was mind blown. And like the mind blowing just went on for days. And I was just like, what was that? You know, what was that? What happened to me?
Wow.
And I had taken like a religious studies course in college. I mean, I was raised Catholic. I was in a Pentecostal church for a short time and I got saved. But then I like left it and I was like, if I got to do all that stuff, I'm not doing this. You know, it's kind of like there's too many rules. There's too many rules.
Sure.
So I kind of just pushed all that aside and then I started just, you know, partying, doing all this stuff. And so that was like after that point.
Okay.
So now I'm like, what happened to me? And so the only reference point that I could come up with was like Black Elk Speaks, like when he has that vision.
Right.
So I was like, well, it must have been something like that. I don't know. And then
sounds like to me you died there for a short time and you were leaving your body.
I was ready, and I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, well, maybe death is just a word, and maybe it is awesome, maybe it's not. Right. I'm you know, each to his own, of course. So. Right.
So like after that, I started becoming obsessed with writing lyrics. I was like, I have to write lyrics that
that's great.
Are gonna be. And I was 20, 21. I don't know, just in my early 20s at this time.
Yeah.
Just clueless before that, like clueless, you know, and still clueless and trying to figure all this out. And so then I was obsessed with writing lyrics, and I was like, wow, I'll just have to get some other people to perform my lyrics and stuff like that. And then I started hearing all these messages in music, like, oh my God, God's talking to me through music and stuff like that. And
he probably
what is that?
Was.
You know, just all this different stuff's happening.
Okay.
And so I got it like shortly after that, like I met this guitarist and I got into my first band, and I was like, oh, I guess I could sing this song.
Yeah.
So I did my first band, we yada, yada, yada. And then, so like, it was such an expansive experience that I thought, well, I'll just try to keep doing LSD and see how that goes.
Ah, okay.
Like, I want to know more.
Try to, get more enlightened. Sounds familiar to my young days.
So I was like, yeah. So I did that, and, you know, I'd be like, nothing happened. And then,
oh, really? So when you went to go trip again, you got nothing like from divinity.
It was just kind of like, it wasn't anything like that.
Just like any high.
So I was kind of disappointed or whatever.
Sure.
So then, but then until this time. So I was also feeling like I've got to save the world with my music and, you know, all this, like, I got to do all this stuff. And so I was really struggling with it. Like, how am I going to do all this stuff?
Right.
Seems like a huge calling, and I have to fulfill it. And how am I going to do it and all that? So I was like, before I got into my second band and made a couple albums, this happened. Like I was like looking for a new boyfriend, right? I'm like 22, 23. I'm just bopping around.
Right.
You know, I have all this weight on me from this vision and stuff, but still I was just trying to hang out and have fun.
Right.
So I was kind of looking for a boyfriend or whatever. So I go to this local bar called the Crest Tavern. And like this guy, it's kind of cute guy, and he sits down and he starts, oh, what are you, really interested, and wants to ask me all these questions and stuff. And he finds out I'm in a band. He's like, oh, that's so interesting, And I was just like eating it up. Oh, really? You're really interested? Oh, wow. Oh, that's so cool.
Sure.
And he's like, well, what kind of things would you write about? And
would you what? Lie about?
Like what would you write about?
Oh, write about. Sorry.
And I was like, well, I don't know, like, myself, like growth. I don't know. I was just like coming up with stuff. And he's like, yeah, maybe we can meet here in a couple days. And I was like, okay, sure, that'd be great. And I'm like thinking, oh, he's kind of cute. He's my next boyfriend.
Right.
And he's like, yeah. I was like, well, how am I going to know when you're here? He's like, oh, don't worry. Next time you come here, I'm sure I'll be here, or something like that.
Whoa.
So I go home and I was excited. I was like, oh, this guy is really into my whole story and yada, yada, yada. So it was like Saturday night, Friday night, and I had Henry Rollins tickets at this club in Columbus.
Okay.
And I also got like a 10 strip of blotter.
Okay.
And it was like Felix the cat.
Yeah.
I hope this is okay. Obviously, this is a drug story.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Everything's good. Just no cussing. That's all.
Oh, did I say any cuss words?
No, not at all. You've been doing great. Yeah.
Good. I got to turn myself up here.
Yeah, you sound great. Everything's good. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah.
So, so I go back to this bar.
Okay.
I got this 10 strip of acid and like these 2 tickets, and I don't know, somehow, maybe I talked to him before, I don't know. So I go and I pick him up, and he's not as nice as he was before.
Oh, really?
And I was like, whatever. He's just kind of like coldish. So then we take a couple of hits of acid and we go to this concert, and like I'm hanging out. There's like some of my friends there, and we're in a circle. And I remember him going, "How you doing over there?" And I was like, "Fine." And he's like, "Oh, look at me, still in my skin," or something like that. Like
Whoa.
Weird.
Okay.
And I was just like, what is going on?
Yeah, well, we're on acid, so I mean, that wouldn't be a odd thing to say.
True. But he was like I was starting to like, I don't know. I was starting to peak and stuff.
Yeah.
Then the concert was really interesting. Like I was seeing the whole place as like this hive of energy, like all these hives of people and energy pockets and stuff. And I'm just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So then he's like, well, you want to go hang out afterwards? I'm like, yeah, because I'm totally thinking this is my next boyfriend, like I said. So I guess he like lived with his parents or something, but I was only 22 or something. So it didn't seem like a weird thing to me.
Sure.
So I drive him to this house. He like lives in the basement. We go in the basement. And we're like hanging out on the couch, and he just started asking, like, what do you want? What do you want? And I was like, what do you mean?
Right.
and then like, I look over, he's like, do you want that? And he like pointed to the wall, and it was like, I don't know if it was all of a sudden or they were really there or what, but it was like stacked. It was like the whole basement wall from one side to the other, and then stacked all the way up with Marshall amps, like
what?
Amps.
Really?
And I was like, what? I was like, no, I don't want any of that,
All right.
And I was very, I've never been materialistic. It was like it never even crossed my mind to like want a bunch of stuff or whatever.
Sure.
And then he started saying stuff like, well, what are you interested in? What do you want? And he's like, and then he points, and then there's like a poster of Jimi Hendrix and a poster of Jim Morrison.
Okay.
And he's like, do you want to lay down with Jimmy and Jim?
Whoa.
And I was like, what?
Right.
So then about this time, he starts manifesting. So like I'm sitting next to him, and I look, and he's the devil, red,
Whoa.
all the way down, fire, horns, red face.
And was this, so let me ask you, do you think this was the acid, or was this like the first experience that you were in that moment where you were in that bliss, like, that kind of reality?
I think I was seeing I think that he was really that entity.
Okay. So he manifested in front of you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, I was on drugs, but
sure.
It was a spiritual experience, it was like,
I believe it.
I was, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, and then I'd look back, and he'd be that normal guy again.
Oh, wow.
So then I went to touch him, because I was like, well, what I really want is connection. Like I'm thinking, what I really want is like to kiss this guy or be connected or whatever, have a boyfriend or whatever.
Sure.
So I like I like go to touch him, and it was like touching nothing. It was like
Wow.
antimatter. It was like a blackness. And I was just like, what?
Would your hand touch him, or would it go through him, or?
It just like went through. It was like nothing, but it was like, I don't know. I can explain it as like blackness.
And this is the
like
guy you met at the bar.
Yeah.
Wow.
The same guy. So then, and you know, I don't know if he was really the guy, or, you know, I don't know how that stuff works. But they say he prowls around the earth, you know,
right,
seeking the ruin of souls. So
sure.
I don't know how he manifests. So
wow.
So then, so let me just get my notes here.
Yeah, sure. Take your time.
Wow, I told all that without any notes, so it's good.
That's awesome.
I thought of all these details today when I was trying to think about this. So then I'm still kind of flirty because I'm still like not
still want a boyfriend.
I'm still like not figuring out what's going on.
Wow.
And then, so then I look at him again, and you know, horns, fire, everything.
Oh man.
And I was starting to get really scared, like, you know, really scared. And he, you know, he said, well, what do you want? You want to lay down with Jimmy and Jim? I'm like, no, you know, no, I don't want any of that. And then also part of the whole thing was, I was like trying to pet his cat, and he's like, oh, no. And then he pulls the cat's tail.
Whoa.
And I was like, don't be mean to the cat. He's like, oh, you're worried about a cat or something like that. Just really cocky, real weird.
Wow.
And then there was also this point where he opens up a door in the basement wall, and it opens up, and like light comes out of it.
Oh, wow.
And it's like a pot plant.
Okay. Okay.
Like it's like growing in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you know, I was really like, wow, you know, like that was the thing that
right.
kind of caught my attention out of the whole deal. And I remember just being like, wow. So that was probably the one thing. And that's been like my Achilles heel ever since then. Like I've never been able to smoke pot and not
Oh, really?
cause myself a bunch of problems. Like I've eventually had to give it up, you know, because it would like take over my life. So that was like the thing when I said, you know, I didn't really get out of the experience unscathed. It was like, for whatever reason, my wanting that, it followed me ever since then. So anyway, so finally I realized what's happening. And I'm like, I'm sitting here with Satan himself. He's asking me to like do like sell my soul, or
wow.
Like he's asking for, you know, he's asking for something. He keeps asking. And I'm finally like, I don't want any of this stuff. I'm scared. I got to get out of here, you know? And he's like, suit yourself.
Oh, really?
And I run out there. I run out of, his basement, you know, up the stairs, out into the night. And like, I was just like, oh, what? I was petrified.
I bet. You know? I bet. You just sat with the devil.
Once I figured out what was going on, I was fucking petrified. Oh my God.
You're right.
Sorry.
That's cool.
I was petrified. So I'm like trying to find my car. I get in my car, and like, I'm sitting there like, crying and stuff. And like the whole car is red. Like everything was red. And I was like, I'm in hell. I felt like I was in hell, and that I wasn't going to be able to get out. And then I drove. Do you remember the tracks that people would pass out, and they would have like one way,
right? And
there'd be all this scary stuff, and like, you remember that stuff when the Christians used to pass those out?
Oh yeah, of course.
And it would be like,
oh, the tracks, yeah.
Yeah, tracks, and it would be like a sign.
I still have one.
It would say like dead end, or it'd say like one way.
That's the one I have. Somebody gave me that. Yeah, I still have that.
Well,
I've had it for decades.
Well, I remember those, and like I was trying to drive away in my car, and I was on like a cul-de-sac or whatever. I go one way, and it says dead end, and then I was like, and everything's still red. And then I go the other way and it says like one way, like I was stuck I couldn't figure out how to get out.
Right.
So I was just like crying and like scared. And then I was like, I'm just going to get out and go to somebody's house. I don't know what to do. I can't get out of here.
Right.
So like I see a rainbow flag.
What?
And
okay.
I see a rainbow flag on this house, and I was like, they're probably nice. I'll go there.
Yeah, sure,
like, and I like that's the only thing I could hang on to. So I went there and I knocked on the door, and we still have plenty of time, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I knocked on the door, and like it was like really late, and these two ladies come out. Like one of them was in underwear, and I was like, I need help. I can't get home, and all this stuff. And they came out and like sat there and talked to me, and my friends came and picked me up, and they're like, was it worth it? That's what they said. Was it worth it?
Your friends said that? Did they know what was going on?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
No.
They were thinking something totally different.
They didn't know what was going on. I just told them I was on drugs and I couldn't get home.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't tell them. I just met Satan himself,
So you think this experience was really spiritual?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Wow.
And I think if I would have said yes, because I was about 23 at the time.
Yeah.
And I was just getting started. I just think if I would have said yes, that I would be dead by now.
Well, sure. So you probably would have gained fame. But it's not an unusual story. The guy on the back wall here, his name is Robert Williams. He's in the 27 Club. And he wrote that song that he sold his soul to the devil. Literally, he sold his soul to the devil. So you think these big time performers are involved in that kind of soul selling fame?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they admit it all the time.
Well, there was something interesting you said when you went to the concert. You saw these energy pods, and I've always believed that these big, gigantic concerts are soul-sucking, energy-sucking, harvesting events.
Yeah.
And you witnessed that.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So, like, my life just kind of, I got into another band, and we made 2 albums, like self-produced. And
was that a tough process?
I loved every minute of it. I mean,
yeah, that's cool.
And those are still out there. You can find them. In fact, if your listeners are interested in seeing, that was like folk rock.
Nice. I think that's on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, one of those songs from that period is there.
I think I saw those years ago when you unfriended me. Just kidding.
I mean, I didn't unfriend you.
Maybe. I don't know. Facebook unfriends people left and right. Just remember that.
Well, in 2018, when I changed from being like a hardcore liberal to a conservative.
You were a hardcore liberal.
Well, not really hardcore, but
you were liberal.
I was definitely a liberal.
Well, when I was
years.
a kid, I was a Democrat. I mean, they suck you in,
Yeah. And in 2018, I flipped the script and I started supporting Trump, and everything. I was exactly I got 49 people defriended me in one day.
Oh yeah.
And my whole band that I was writing a third album with, Into It, they stopped talking to me. So we've never finished that album. We have 2 that are available, everywhere.
Oh, cool.
One's called Gotta Be, and one's called Universal Themes. It's actually under my name because that's what I did.
The listeners, they love all kinds of stuff, definitely. So this experience brought you out of music temporarily, right? Did it freak you out?
No, it just blew my mind, and then I just kind of went down a path of still partying a lot and a lot of depression and mental health issues.
Sure.
And then and just a lot of failed relationships, just kind of a bad
I mean, not to
life.
get into your personal life, but do you think that maybe some of that experience meeting the devil or this demon kind of left some residual that gave you issues? Yeah. I've heard that before.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do the ultimate thing, but like I said, I didn't get out of it unscathed.
Right.
And so I still kept, doing music, and I made a couple albums. They were not successful in any commercial way, but I would get really discouraged, a lot of depression, stuff like that. And then I had a baby, and I did that.
There you go.
And she's 25 now.
That's great.
So she's all grown. So like 3 years ago is when I decided I wanted to get back into music.
Okay.
And that's another thing, is like the calling of that original vision never left me. And like, I just kept feeling like God wants me to do this. God wants me to do this. It's not too late.
Right.
I need to get back on the horse. And it was very hard to do that. Like, I had to fight through a lot of, just discouraging kind of feelings.
Sure.
So, and then in the last few years, I met, I was in a band for a year called Blue Spectrum, and I sang with them for a year. And then now I'm in Mixtape, which is current, like I said. And I do vocal lessons, and
nice.
I get a lot of encouragement from my vocal teacher. Her name's Sierra.
There you
Sierra
go.
Jordan.
All right. Hey, Sierra. All right.
And she's helped me with the songwriting, and now I'm in the studio. Everything's just kind of happening.
All right.
Yeah. And I feel like there's going to be a market for people that haven't sold their souls.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're seeing the disdain for Hollywood, sports, entertainment. People are really burnt out on this because now the truth's coming out, all this, symbolism, and people are starting to catch on, and they're like, that's the pedo symbol, or, that's Satan. And, no matter what the media is trying to pound in our brains, people don't want that, and they want wholesome, clean, spiritual, it doesn't have to be Christianity. It has to be, something that connects people's souls with the higher, divine.
Right.
And I think people are. Go ahead.
I do consider myself a Christian or a follower of Christ.
Right. Me too.
He kind of kept pulling me back in, and then I finally was like, okay.
He does that. Seriously.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
you want me.
Sometimes you got to just let go and let God, as they say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a great story because it ended well.
Yeah, it did.
And you're doing good today.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, when you do something that you have a passion for, you love, you enjoy, like I love this. This is, I own a couple companies over there, but I hate working, but I love this,
Right.
So you have a passion. You got to follow those passions.
You do.
All right. You want to give a little plug for your stuff? If you got anything going on, or website or merch?
Sure. Mixtape will be playing it in around Columbus. We do pop, punk, and rock. We just wrote our first original song.
Nice.
It's called Mallory. I'm in the studio. We're in the studio right now.
Okay.
Doing that. So that's going to be our first single.
Okay, great.
And it's like it's a fun song about like insecurity and the committee in your head and stuff like that. It's just kind of a fun song.
Yeah.
about girl insecurity.
There you
Because
go.
Mallory is perfect, and I'm just,
Oh, she is. Okay. Yeah.
Well, at least in the song. At least in this song. And then the other song I'm doing is called Take It From Me. And like I said, it's the first song that I intentionally wrote to the Lord. It's like an active prayer.
Oh, nice.
Like, take all this shame, pain, grief away from me, Lord, laying it down. And that song has been a year-long kind of journey, because you start writing songs like that, you really have to like actually do it.
Right.
Like it's actually like healing me. Like the song's been working me.
Of course.
So it's been real active, and it's just about done. It's going to be piano, ballad.
Oh, nice.
A little bit of cello. So it's going to be nice.
It's good for the soul too. It helps you heal from some of that stuff, right? I mean,
absolutely. And hopefully will kind of inspire other people that are going through similar stuff.
Absolutely. You have to pass it along.
Yeah. So that's going on, and I don't know exactly when they'll be done, and I don't know if you have my links and stuff.
You got a YouTube page?
Mixtape has a YouTube page. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't look all this stuff up.
No, it's okay. People, they just go.
They know how to fix it.
They go to YouTube. They'll go Mixtape, and
Eileen Motok. Unfortunately, there's like a lot of mixtapes.
Are there? I would imagine.
We're actually going to we're going to be changing our name, especially when this single comes out. But it's got a certain logo, so that helps people find it.
Well, keep us in touch with your things going on in the future. And thanks for sharing that absolutely crazy story with us on the Paradigm Shift. Hey, listen, I got stories. I was young and on drugs myself, but I never seen nothing like that. So
yeah, it was really intense. It definitely shaped my life, and it was like my whole life went into a different trajectory, and it's been hard to fulfill it, but I feel like I'm moving forward to do that.
I'm glad God pulled you back in for that last time. So
yeah, thank you.
All right.
So if you go to Bandcamp, like the best way to support me, if anybody's interested,
sure,
is that I have my first 2 albums, all the singles, digital and hard copies, on sale at bandcamp.com, and you just search my name, Eileen Motok, which I'm sure you have posted somewhere.
Oh, it's everywhere, yeah.
Eileen Motok.
There we go.
So that would be a great way to support me, if anybody's interested in that.
You heard it, Bandcamp, Eileen Motok, and support her that way. Well,
yeah, you
Eileen,
can find me on Instagram, Facebook.
Right. Well, these folks will follow you, and I've heard your music. It's very good, so.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for coming on the Paradigm Shift. You have a great night.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I'll listen to the rest.
Okay, great. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, folks. So we knocked that one out. Okay, folks. So that was Eileen Motok, and wow. I could tell you honestly, folks, because I've done a lot of drugs as a kid, and you do open a foothold to the devil when you do drugs. It like opens a portal almost. It really does, where this dark energy can come and get you. And I have had some experiences with that. I really have. I've shared some of that on the show in the past. When I experienced that thing with the skin. What do they call them, guys? Skinwalkers. Yeah, that jazz. So, well, God bless her. Life is tough. I mean, when you're a young person, and especially today, my God, who could be a young person today? This is a crazy world. I would hate to be, in my 20s today. That would be pretty rough. So, God bless her that, she got it going, and it's a tough world. That's all I got to say. I've been through hell and back, folks. I'm not even lying. I'm wasting time here because I'm trying to find my clip. My clip, where is it? Right here. So hang tight, man. We're going to go into our mid and get your beer. get your chips, get your munchies. Make sure I got the right clip going. Go use the restroom. We got a few minutes. We're going to break loose here for a second, and we're going to go to hour 2. We're going to have Jimmy Jean from...
Keep hydrated during those long listen sessions. Get your hands on our durable water bottles. And now introducing our latest editions, a hand-picked selection of intriguing books that will keep your mind buzzing. GroundZeroMerch.com. Support Ground Zero and everything we do. Attention all Ground Zero radio fans. GroundZeroMerch.com is your one-stop shop.
It's great, man. There's just like tens of thousands from all kinds of stuff. It's great for your productions. It's great for your podcast. It's just great for everything, man. So let's cut loose here. We're going to cut loose here, mate. Jimmy Jean, host of Into the Microcosm, next. Paradigm Shift. JP here. Welcome back. We are listening to Ground Zero. I am really offbeat tonight. I'm sorry, guys. We're listening to you're listening to Ground Zero.radio, groundzeromedia.org, studiojfm.com. Share those links right now so others can enjoy the show too. Don't forget, you can sub us at aftermath.media and you can give a little bit to the old Studio J at the evil PayPal, JoeMaginYahoo.com. It's not a requirement over on my side, so don't even worry about it. If you ain't got the money, man. It's Christmas. Do what you got to do. JP's fine. You like that tune? You can catch all the names to this music in the videos when they hit Rumble and such. All credits are given as you should. Crazy hour there. Listen, I can tell you some stories, man. Old JP used to play guitar. That's right. I still do, but the arthritis, I'm old. But yeah, I was in a band when I was a kid. Yeah, about the same age as Eileen. It was a pretty wild experience, I will say that. And honestly, I was like the fat kid. I'm not kidding, man. So, like, I got into a band. Listen, I used to play saxophone, okay? And my mom was pissed when because I went and traded that saxophone in when I turned 18 and turned it into a guitar. And, the chicks just love me. It's true. Chicks love musicians, man, and that was what it was about back then. I said, chicks, I'm going to get emails. Listen, I'm going to cut you guys loose here again because I see Jimmy Jean in the waiting room, so hang tight. We're going to turn that one off. Boom. And turn this one on. And here we go. Bringing Jimmy Jean in. Let's get that recording going. I can never find it. Where's that button? Take the sunglasses off.
Recording in progress.
All right, so Jimmy Jean should be here in a minute. So, yeah, we weren't rolling the circuit. We weren't nobody famous, but I could go a good lick on the guitar. Matter of fact, I don't know, 10 years ago, I was cleaning some boxes out. We were moving stuff around, blah, blah. I found, maybe it was longer than that. I found a cassette tape, and it just said mixtape, or not mixtape. It said, that was her band. It said, it said Joe and Ron. And I stuck it in. It was me and my friend Ronnie. He was a drummer, I was a guitarist. But I didn't see that at first. At first, I saw the tape, but I just put it in. I'm like, wow, these guys are good. And then when I pull it out, that's right. It was Joe and Ron. We used to play in Ronnie's barn. It was pretty good. Okay, so we're just waiting on Jimmy Jean. He should be here. What was that? So if you guys are listening to the station over the week and you're hearing all kinds of things going on and waves and fading and just straight up off the playlist, we're changing everything around here. I mean, big time. Excuse me. I'm going to move that server from the other room into here that actually runs the station, and we have all kinds of goodies we're hooking up. It's going to be expensive. Here's Jimmy Jean. Love you, honey. Yeah, the wife is the Presidente. Jimmy, this is my man on Sunday mornings. I listen to Wake and Bake. He just runs the most awesome music all morning. Jimmy, how you doing, brother? No audio? Okay, there you go. You're connecting. We hear you now, I think.
Hello.
You're there. Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, what's happening? Hey, listen, you didn't, what's that?
I heard.
Hang on. Okay. Hang on. I was testing the audio and it was echoing back. Okay. So listen,
Yes,
we
sir.
do a show on Saturday nights at 7.
Okay.
And so my co-host Rio is here, but we do a music
Okay.
show on Sunday. So he's here with me. So he's
Oh,
going to
sweet.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask you because I didn't know if it was cool. And
You're
then also,
good, man.
just-
I hear Rio when I listen to your show, I think on Friday. Rios is his name? Yeah.
yeah, Rio's here too.
Hey,
I could
Rios.
have got Bruce too. I just didn't tag him quick enough.
Oh, that's cool.
Anyways, listen, we go live on freeworld.fm right at 7
Okay.
and also on the Independent Broadcast Network. And we're live on YouTube right now.
Okay, great.
So when at your top of your hour, when you're ready to go, just let me know. I'm just going to go ahead and I fire these other two networks up.
Fire them up, brother. Fire them up. Spread that relay around the world.
As we go, man.
Good deal. Well, thanks for coming on.
No, sweet. We're stoked, man. Rio's.
Yeah,
Real
we're broadcasting live on Ground Zero Radio. Thanks everybody that's out there. We're with Jimmy Jean, Rios.
Fantastic. Well, this is a tritone. We got 3 things going all at once. So,
awesome, man.
I know. So what's going on? So we've been super busy right before we came on. So
yeah, well, we had a guest on in hour 1, and she shared some of her experience as a young performer and how she was spiritually touched by the devil himself, and trying to suck her into the music industry in a bad way. Yeah, it was pretty heavy.
Sounds intense. Yeah, we've done quite a bit of. Rock and Rio and I have both been in the music industry.
Right. That's why you guys are
Rio,
on.
Rio, Rio's longtime road veteran. He's a guitar player himself. I'm a bass player. I was in a band. Rio, Rio.
Yeah, I wish I heard that first hour, man, because I can relate to that situation.
It was intense. It was intense.
Yeah.
And to Sweeney in the chat, I stand to be corrected. You're right, brother. I had the wrong name there. It was, what was it, Johnson? Right there. There he is. There he is.
We should be going live, Jimmy.
Yeah, so there we go. freeworld.fm. We're on live with JP from the Paradigm Shift. You can find him over on Ground Zero Radio. It's the independent broadcast network. We're on YouTube. And JP, wow, it's me and Rio, and we're super stoked to be here tonight, man.
Hey,
we just had to get all these loose ends tied up here right at 7 o'clock.
Wow, this is cool. Yeah, I actually think that's really, really cool that you have all this going. So it's really getting out there far. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. Tell us about, so we were getting into this gal's story, and the show's tonight is called Music, the Illuminati's Secret Weapon, because I really believe that music, even the most innocent way, the Illuminati uses it against people, children, everybody.
Well, yeah, it's music in and of itself is a magical thing.
Absolutely.
So we can listen to music. We can hear high vibrational music when we hear liturgies and say religious offerings within cathedrals. These types of sounds have always been pleasing to the ear.
Right.
As far as the demonic aspect of it, Rio happens to be a recording engineer, and he's been involved in a lot of music industry.
Right. Okay.
Recording, and so he can really touch a little bit on some of the stuff that goes on in reverse. He does quite a bit of reverse speech on the show.
Absolutely.
We don't typically on Into the Microcosm. We don't really focus a lot on the music industry. We're mostly going after people.
There you go. Jimmy is the host, and he is the dude of Into the Microcosm. A great show, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, we really appreciate you, JP. And we go back a couple of years, even though we haven't spoken. We go back a couple of years, together on this.
Finally have your right email.
Yeah.
So I'll stay in touch more.
So Rock and Rio, apparently you should probably bring a little material to the table as far as some of what goes on. We were talking about these sigils last night and how they're, put forward in this wax or on these records, and then you keep playing this spell over and over again. Back in the day, people used to. Wow. Yeah, and people used to listen to music over and over again. Back in the day, you'd get an album, you'd go down to the record store, you'd get it, you bring it home, you put it on the turntable, you'd spin it, and you'd listen to the whole thing, man. The whole side or whatever. Every single song and every single lyric. All of those things create a psychological state.
Right.
Come to find out, well, there's actual magic in the music, isn't there, Rio?
Yeah, there definitely is. There's a lot of things that go into making hit records that people don't realize. There's there's subaudible tones. They put harmonic frequencies, and a lot of people see the binaural beat videos on YouTube. They're supposed to be calming and relaxing, but you can actually program like alpha waves and delta waves, to affect your brain into the music that, you can't hear it. It's there. So certain music is intentionally more calming, where certain music is intentionally more enraging. And as far as the sigils go, just if you look at, rock and roll album covers, you see the signs and the symbols, right? There's,
right.
The pentagram is on how many record albums, right? And that's it. There's so much stuff that goes into it, and the entire industry is so dark as far as it goes.
It is too, but some of it, when you look back, and you look at some of the lyrics and some of the things that were being written about, say in the 70s,
right?
And it seems like it's dark on some level, Rio, but couldn't you say that on some level these musicians are just like us. They were sitting there and they were reading books, and they were doing research, so to speak, back then. But they were all kind of reading this esoteric material. They're all sort of reading these same books, and sort of like makes what they're finding come out. Like, for example, I mean, we did that show and we talked about Sammy Hagar and, that song, The Crack in the World.
Right.
And, he's writing about something happening in 2025. And he's saying, he's going into pretty much detail about it. And it's interesting because, where did he come up with that shit?
Right.
I mean, did he just make it up? He just sitting out on his porch smoking a J and thought it up? I mean,
Sure.
Well, obviously we did a reverse on that song, right? And the reverse in that song was that he's a master mason.
Oh, is that right?
That's where he gets that knowledge from. And
the hidden knowledge.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think a lot of the musicians end up just being puppets. A lot of people just write good music and then, get popular and whatever.
Right.
And it's the industry guys behind the scenes that, the engineers and the record execs and, that add another layer of evil to it, right? Because a lot of musicians are just out there being musicians.
That's what I'm saying. A lot. I mean, it's not.
Not everybody's out there, trying to corrupt you.
Do people actually think? Do people actually think Britney Spears is sitting somewhere with a pencil, thinking up her next $1 million set that's a satanic ritual? She has no idea, man. She walks it. They hand her a microphone. She walks out on the stage and dances around in whatever outfit they hand her.
Look at Taylor Swift.
Idea.
I have no idea, in my personal opinion, as a musician, why she's so popular. Her music sucks.
Who knows? I mean, repetition. Who knows?
Advertising.
Well, there's a thing in the music world, right? You're not famous because you're popular, or you're not popular because you're famous, right? You're famous because you're popular. What it is they play certain songs over and over and over and over again, and we as people, psychologically go to things that we hear all the time or see all the time or easily recognizable. So, when you're walking through the supermarket or you're in the mall or you're in the car listening to the radio, they play the same music over and over and over again because you hear it 100 times and you say, man, this must be a good song because they keep playing,
Yeah.
And that's a psychological operation in itself.
Yeah, I bet they're using those tactics to actually brainwash people and use the magic in the music.
There's no question about it.
No question.
The thing about it is, these things were all learned and gleaned over time. I mean, music was one of the first ways that they used media to mind shape pop culture and individuals in a certain demographic. They utilize a certain psychology behind, and it's not necessarily. The thing about it is it's monkey see, monkey do. Whatever you do in this world, if there's something that's successful, a bunch of people are going to copy it. And so what they do is they're out in front with the people in the beginning. They're the ones setting the tone for whatever it is. It doesn't matter if it's music or politics, whatever it is. They put the people out there in the beginning. They're all controlled people.
Right.
They set the tone and then they get airplay. Now they're making money. So the impression to all the other people coming up that are musicians is, I got to play this kind of music if I want to make it. If I want to make it, I got to wear this kind of clothes and play this kind of music.
Right. Because
that's what the record companies are looking for. So they go down and they do shows down in LA and somebody gets picked out of the group or whatever. And now they go up there but there's a whole thing that goes on in the background, right? Real. I mean, it's not like in the old days, if you got a record and you sold 1 million copies or whatever, that you were getting rich.
Right.
No, they're just,
everybody got broad deals as far as that goes.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the actual musician, they get this mansion. They say they're very successful. They get a mansion. They get these limos. They get all this stuff. But once they get washed up, they don't really own that stuff, do they?
No, a lot of it is, owned by the record companies themselves. It's, And even the stuff you see in videos, you know, you see these guys driving around in Ferraris and in $1 million mansions. A lot of those guys don't really live like that. You know, it's all for show, for video.
I think it's part of the job description. You know, you get a credit card and you live in this house and you drive around in that car, but you don't own the car, you don't own the house, and you know, you don't have any money in the bank, but you can go down and buy whatever you want because you got a black card. You know, you can go do whatever you want. I mean, it's the same thing as these people like you see in front of these companies. It's the same exact model used over and over again everywhere. Like I said, they use the same model in politics. This is the same model where they have a guy. Here's some moolie that's sitting there. You know, he came up, he's all of a sudden popped out, and there he is with a giant company. Do you think that a lot of these company owners that you see in the public eye, you think they have anything to do with the company itself? No, because the company is run by the company, the CIA or whoever else it is. And they just put a front man out there, and he looks like he's rich. He looks like he has money, but he's just doing the same thing. He's got a house. He's got a black card. He's got a car. He's got a limo. He can go wherever he wants. You know, it appears that he's rich, but he really doesn't have any money in the bank. And when his time's up, oh, you died, Bob. Sorry about that.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, here you go. Just don't say anything.
You got to consider too. It's right when you're making a record. Say the record company gives you, you know, $100,000 in budget to make the record, and so you got to pay studio guy, the engineer, the recording, the mixing, the mastering, the pressing, you know, and now you're going to go out on tour, right? You think that's and that's actually where musicians make more money is on tour.
That's where
But you know, the record company gets 30% off the top. The studio gets another 10% off the top. The road crew probably will eat up another 15 to 20%. The promoter gets another 15 to 20%. So by the time all is said and done, you know, the band itself is walking away with maybe, if they've got a great deal, 10%.
Wow.
So if they make, you know, $20 million, the band made $200,000. Now you still got to pay for all your expenses on top of that.
My God.
And divide that up by 5 people. So what do you make, 40 grand?
Wow.
You know, so you do a year long tour and you make, you know, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000.
You got to keep staying on the road.
And, you know, everybody thinks that it's glamorous, but it's, you know, a lot of people just don't make any money.
It's a dirty business.
Stay on the road constantly. You see bands that are on the road, they never even come off the road.
Wow. So the Illuminati, a lot of people don't think that the Illuminati has influence in music, but you are here to tell us they do, I would imagine.
Well, I mean, that's a weird way to put it. I mean, not a weird way. I mean, it's a blanket idea.
Well, I mean, like, there's this.
Who is the Illuminati?
That's the question. Who is this unknown hand that we know are using music in a magical way to control people?
Well, listen. What we're talking about tonight, music, this technology at this point is archaic.
Right.
They've taken every single thing that they've learned since the 60s with using music and programming people through the media.
Yes.
They've taken that and they've turned that into what's now known as the internet. And they've used these same techniques on people on the internet to shape consciousness or to move people in a certain direction. Not everybody likes every kind of music, right? So some people like this kind, some people like that kind. You know, it's the same thing. It's different markets, different ways, but the end result is the same. The shaping of people's ideas. Rock and Rio. Now, people's ideas were shaped into going down to the record company and putting your hand out and saying, hey, look, I'm a real good guy. Look at my music. It's great. You know, sign me up. So there were bands that didn't do that. One of them was Motley Crue. I think another one you could point out that was very, you know, made a lot of money was NWA and that whole thing that happened down South Central Los Angeles with hip hop and stuff. But Rock and Rio, so these guys, Motley Crue, when they hit the scene, they basically, you know, they recorded their own record. They had their own thing going on. And then after they had sold a bunch of records, then they went and they cut a deal. So what's the difference between these deals? Because you have publishing deals and you have all these different ways that your money can be stolen from you. But Motley Crue seemed to have gone out there, right off the bat with the same idea that, like I said, the early hip hop artists were doing some of the same stuff. They'd be selling tapes out of their trunk, like Too Short or whatever up in Oakland, selling tapes out of his trunk.
Wow.
Go ahead, man.
Well, yeah, there are people who've made good money in the music industry. I mean, it's not like, but it's like any other business. There are people who actually get good deals and make enough, and then there's people who don't. But everybody's got their hand out, from the promoters to the club owners to the venue to the record company to the people that's carting your equipment around to the stage, And but by the time all is said and done, it's nowhere near what you would think, right? It's just, it never is. I mean, you can do okay.
Different. It's different.
You can do good.
It's different now.
It is different
now.
The
model has changed, because like back in the 80s when I was playing music, we would get in fist fights in the studio over shit, because you're in there and it's costing like $160 something an hour, and you got all these people, like Rio was saying. Well, now today you don't need to go down to the studio.
Right.
And so there's this whole gatekeeping aspect to the music that's out there today that is, in the day you couldn't get any airplay. Now you can get airplay because there's all these different ways to do that, to get your music out in front of people. And now there's ways for you to make all the money on your music. But the problem is there's no real way there's no promotion machine that was built on the other model for people to get out there. Like I say, we play a lot of really new music, a lot of time on the show, and on Sunday mornings we do the wake and bake. So we play a lot of new music, and a lot of it is like I'll see and I'll find a great band, and they got like 150 subscribers on YouTube.
Right.
And no one's ever really even heard of them. But I mean, you can go on and on and on and on and on and never play the same thing twice for the rest of your life on the internet right now, with all the music that's out there.
So Tom McDonald seemed to be able to do it without the industry and its power. What do you think of him?
I'm not even sure who that is.
You never heard of that guy? Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, since I kind of walked away from the whole thing a few years back now, I don't really like a whole lot of new music.
Right.
So unless it comes across,
that's why
I don't pay attention to most of the new artists. I mean, unless there's some reason to look at them, I just kind of stay away from it because of all the stuff that's gone on.
Right.
I mean, the music industry itself is dirty. It's corrupt. It's
sure.
There is a lot of evil going on there. I mean, there really is, on multiple levels.
Well, that's why I like Wake and Bake, because I hear some of the greatest old music on Wake and Bake, man.
Well, I mean, let's circle back around, because I don't want it to seem like I avoided the question about the Illuminati.
Sure, of course.
But the thing about it is that ultimately there's people that own businesses. Okay. And so those people that own that business, then they get to say and dictate what's going to go on in that business.
Okay.
So ultimately, above your management grade, there's the manager above you and the manager above that. They don't tell you everything. Okay, they just tell you what they need to tell you to make you do what they need you to do, because they need you to do something, because they need that, because they're doing something over here and they're going to need that later. Right. So, but you don't get all that,
Well, that's how it is here. Like I own a business here, and not everybody knows everything. They don't need to,
Right. So the ultimate simple thing to see is all those managers, and it comes down to the one guy who's out in the clubs looking for people to sign up to come and be a part of this record company. That guy he's told to pick a certain type of thing.
Okay.
He's like, they come to him and they say, this is what we need. We need da 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 da. And then he goes out and he finds something that matches up with that. And then they take that and they use it in their promotion machine to turn it into something as a popular culture item.
Right.
So they will hammer that. Whatever it is, the guy wears this kind of clothes, so on and so forth. It's just over and over and on and on and on until an infinitum, until that becomes popular. They literally create the popular trends and then are standing there with the stuff to sell you as a result of it, whatever that might be, whether it's an idea or a product.
Wow.
So whatever appeals Rock and Rio, it's all really. Songs are really just advertising all rolled up into a 3-minute hit, aren't they really? I mean,
yeah, in a way. The stuff that's put out, is popular. All the number one, the Billboard stuff, and what you see on MTV. That's all controlled and intentional, right? If you look back at even into the 70s and 80s, right? You had musicians who were like real musicians making it big. You take a group like Van Halen or Motley Crue or one of those guys. They were talented guys that made good music and got popular because they were good. Now that the whole industry setup is what can we market? And that's why people like Britney Spears or Miley Cyrus or
that girl's a mess.
Whoever is
Britney
popular
Spears,
now,
she's a mess.
Well, they don't.
Yeah,
have to, that's the thing.
They are, because they've undergone mind control programming and stuff. But what the industry does now is they don't want to promote a guy like Van Halen anymore. They want to promote Britney Spears because the number one market for records is 14 to 18-year-old boys. Okay. So what sells?
Well, here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. There's a big distinct difference between the lip syncing generation, because there's not a lot of lip syncing going on, before the 80s. And, once you've gotten to a point where you can just take a person and put them there, and now they don't write the music, and they probably, I've heard board tapes of a lot of these people, and really they don't sing that good. So the thing is, it doesn't matter because they're not singing. I mean, you can't run around and jump around,
right,
and sing without your diaphragm popping air out of your. There's no way you could run around and do aerobics and sing a song on key. At every concert. So the whole thing is just a fake lip syncing operation. I mean, realistically, even our politicians are lip syncers.
I think they are.
They are.
I know.
They are, man.
Like
they
that one video of that congresswoman and her handler, I would imagine, was behind her, actually lip syncing the whole speech she was giving from the bench. There was unbelievable.
Dude, see, that's the thing is, I mean, this show is important, and the discussion we're having in relation to really letting people understand that every single aspect of the media is designed specifically. It's all mind control.
Yep.
And you just got to pick your poison or whatever. I happen to like music. I mean, I know about all this stuff, but does that mean I can't? For a period of time, I didn't listen to music. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, at some point, you got to draw the line somewhere. I mean, what do I do? It's like, I can't play if I play a certain artist and there happens to be some weird shit in their background, someone will be in my chat and say that person is a such and such or a so-and-so. It's like some accusation being made about some shit that someone said they did, but no one really knows.
No cussing.
You know what I mean? Excuse me. Sorry.
You're all right, man. I got
Sorry
it.
about that.
I got it.
All right. So, anyhow, Rock and Rio, the music business is not what it was, and at this point, what is it really besides the lip syncing? I mean, I worked at a club for 10 years, and it was at a period of time, it was right the a little bit into the 70s and early 80s. And at that time, there were still a lot of musicians around, world great musicians. And there was a lot of people that were coming up that are now, old. Metallica played at our club, a bunch of people played there. Every single person you could possibly name is pretty much played at the club I worked at. And especially during the metal years, all the bands that were the biggest bands.
And those bands weren't lip syncing either.
No. No.
But I guess AI is going to take over music, I would imagine.
Yeah, we've played the AI. Have you heard some of this AI Metallica stuff that they have?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, there's a Metallica song that AI wrote. It's, actually thought it was a little better than a lot of Metallica that's been out for the last couple of years.
That's a big threat, even for the music industry, I would imagine.
Yeah, the Screen Actors Guild just had that was like one of their biggest beefs with their latest contract thing was the AI and the use of their likeness without their permission.
Oh yeah.
Well, now you don't even.
The big one obviously was Carrie Fisher in Star Wars. That started it, but they're also doing it with dead musicians. Ronnie James Dio's doing concerts and Tupac's doing concerts, and they're doing
like
AI holograms.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty soon you'll just be able to watch a great concert from the 70s right in your living room in VR.
And actually, they even did it with ABBA.
Really?
Yeah, they just did a whole virtual concert.
Rio, you're telling me that they're using these performers' likeness and their copyrighted material, and they're putting on concerts, and nobody's stopping them from doing that?
No, they're licensed.
Oh.
Well, they're licensed by the record companies because
they own it.
See, one of the things is when you get into a record deal, the record company and or the publisher holds the rights to the music.
Okay.
You have a certain percentage of rights if you're the author or the original band or whatever, but there's you're only points of percentage. So you may have 25%, say, and that allows you to play it and record it and whatever. But as far as the publishing goes and the actual ownership of the songs, the record company holds all that. And that's why there's so many big controversies in the industry with even the whole thing with like Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson, who actually held all the songs, right? Because Michael Jackson owned the Beatles stuff.
Oh my God.
So in order for the Beatles or Paul McCartney to go out and sing his own stuff, he had to get permission from Sony and Michael Jackson.
Oh man, you're kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
It's in perpetuity too. It's forever.
Wow.
So once they own it, they own it. And that's the thing is when these guys get signed in originally, Rio, when these guys get signed in, it's like a 20-page contract. Is any 20-year-old dude who wants to get a record contract, is he reading that? Has he got a lawyer? Is there a lawyer present? No.
And it's all in legalese too. And there's always loopholes and, language that's why double speak language in the contracts.
That's why Prince changed his name to a symbol, because they owned Prince.
Is that what that was about?
Yeah, that was the only way he could get out of his contract, was to completely change his identity and record under something else.
And
that's why he was the
weird
to a symbol. Because they wouldn't let him out of his They eventually caved on it at some point, but
sure.
And toward the end of his life, he became Prince again. But for that whole period of time, the whole reason he did that is because he didn't want to pay the record company their 80% of everything he was making. Actually, another band that did that was Twisted Sister. They had a beef with the record company and the contracts and whatever, so they broke up and they went out. Those 5 guys went out and toured as Bent Brother, the greatest Twisted Sister cover band ever. And they did that for like 8 years until the contract expired.
Wow.
So, hey, Rio, since we're on with JP and, our audience has heard you talk about it, but But I mean, you got a little bit of insight on 9/11 from somebody that a lot of people know. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, we could.
All right. Rip it out. Yeah.
So, I was supposed to. I'll give you the good version of the story. We were supposed to go down into Manhattan to 30th Street Guitars that particular day, and I worked with a guy named Bill, and Bill was he was a blues guy and potential star in his own right, but he was also the guitar player for Richie Havens. If nobody knows who that is, Richie Havens is the guy who opened Woodstock.
Freedom.
Yeah. So, we're watching the thing unfold on TV, and later that day, Richie calls me up, and we're talking about it, and he's going, "We did this to ourselves, man. We did this to ourselves." I'm like, "Richie, what are you talking about? Some crazy Arab guys just flew a plane into the building." He's like, "No, man, we did this to ourselves. I have proof, but I can't tell you on the phone." I was like, "All right."
Whoa.
I was like, "All right." So, I'm thinking, Richie's like this old hippie guy, anti-war piece, like the epitome of that character, right?
Right.
But he's a very genuine guy. So about a week or so later, right? And I'm still on the narrative version of it at this point. We're doing a show with Richie, and we're in the thing, and I said, "So tell me what this is all about, this we did this to ourselves thing." And he's like, "Look, man, I have proof." I was like, "All right, what's your proof?" He says, he was actually supposed to be on one of those planes, and he got a phone call the night before telling him not to be on the plane.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because somebody liked him and didn't want him to die in the whole situation.
Oh, the people knew. There's no doubt there.
So, he showed me the plane ticket. He ended up taking a car back from Boston.
So there was a Prince thing too, right? Remember that Prince? He said it was in 1998. He said Osama bin Laden getting ready to bomb at one of his shows.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, he said that I guess a week or so before it happened.
Yeah.
So there were people who knew, and Richie was actually, he didn't talk about it publicly too much, but he was definitely anti-government and into conspiracy theories and stuff like that. He was the guy who turned me on to the whole 9/11 thing, and then that's where I really got woken up and went down the rabbit hole with all of this. I knew about stuff in the music business, being dirty and evil, and the witchcraft and that kind of stuff that was involved. And to some extent, we avoided that, right? We weren't into a lot of that stuff.
Right.
And didn't hang out with those people much. I ran across a lot of those people, but I just tended to stay on my side of the fence,
Well, there was major witchcraft going on over here where I live. And, so I don't know. I was just sitting here thinking to myself when you were saying it, I was thinking to myself, where's the witchcraft? And then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, it's pretty much everywhere.
It's in front of your
pretty
face.
much is
It's
pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
It's I don't know though. When people are sitting there and they're writing songs, I don't know. It's a weird place to be in now. It's really, because you don't need anybody, do you, Rio? Pretty much you can go on there. There's all kinds of different chord progressions and different drummers and all the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You can put it together. You don't even need another single person. You can sit there and crank out song after song without having to hire anybody or do anything and own everything. But the thing is now everyone's free to make as much music as they want, but now there's so much music. How do you find it?
Right.
needle in the haystack. It's like the alternative media on the internet. It's like if you're really looking for information, how do you know? I mean, the well has been poisoned to the point of like what is real and what isn't. I mean, I saw some Q countdown.
Right. Right. I know, man. That's just crazy.
On, man.
And it keeps turning back. Like I said, 13 days now. It's like, guys, give it a break already.
Give it a break, man. We gave it a break, like literally how many years ago, Rio?
It's the
we
whole.
took so much heat on the Kev Baker show.
I remember
for talking about.
You know, I mean, it's psych op after psych op after psych op. Now they're just blowing us out in every direction, and like you said, there's so much on the internet that you don't even know what to believe. You don't even know if somebody wrote this song or not, or if somebody made this movie. You know, it's crazy.
It's literally to the point where one man could sit there and push a button and have all this stuff happen. This AI go out and write a bunch of news articles and then put them on certain people's news feeds and then get them into the people's minds and so on and so forth. And I mean, you know, it used to have to involve a lot of people to propagate this machine. Right. But now it's being automated. And now, since it's been automated, Rock and Rio, I mean, at this point, they could just everyone's been psychologically profiled and digitally scraped.
Everybody, nobody's exempt.
No, beyond recognition. So they know if they put 3 pictures on a web page, they know which picture you're going to click on. You know, whatever it has to do with. So if you know.
Yeah, your YouTube is different than my YouTube.
Right.
Different than his YouTube.
It's true. It's true. Everybody, you know, I might search for something, and if you search for something, the AI has you in a different direction based on your behavior on the web.
Mm-hmm. We did a bunch of that Chat GPT stuff on the show when it first popped out. Mm-hmm. Chat GPT 3. It was funny. It knew who I was. You know, it talked about the show and so on and so forth. It was interesting, but it was, you know, after that I realized that it was in that moment that I went there and I joined Chat GPT and I had to put my phone number in there. And then I asked the questions that I
never
asked
thought of that.
I asked the questions that I asked of it. Okay. So it has a reference point to where I'm at or what I'm thinking, or it has a baseline.
Right.
Because I went right for the jugular on a lot of shit.
There you go.
You know what I mean? I was talking about hive minds and a bunch of really intense questions. And anyways, the bottom line is after that, ChatGPT 4 came out, and I didn't go into the ChatGPT 4. I stopped because I thought to myself that at that point, once I gave in my phone number to it, now, and I talked to it, I was literally talking to the beast, man. I'm telling you right now.
It's tapping your phone.
Well, not only that, but not tapping my phone, but tapping my phone and then all my contacts and then all their contacts.
Oh, yeah. No, it spreads all like that fire, man. Yeah.
No, literally. It's once you, hey, it's free though, right? Hey, man, come on over.
It's free.
It's free. So anyway,
I never really got into it. I mean, I used it. Actually use it to like write contracts and things like that, just to
why not
finalize make it quicker and not pay the lawyer $1,000, But yeah, no, it works great for that. But
well, yes, man.
Like the kid that works here, one of my employees, he's just a young guy. He is totally innovated, just everything to do with AI. Actually, we're gonna have him on the show because he's the perfect example of where this youth are heading, the direction they're heading with AI. It's scary, man.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And hey, Rio, once you get to the point where you have an AI, and then you have AI coming up with new ideas, and then creates another AI, then that AI is going to take everything that the first AI took and turn that around into something else.
And in a short time, you'll have an army of AIs that are all in lockstep with each other.
Well, what you have is one giant AI and a bunch of robots that get signal from the AI and tell it what to do in its position. So, like, for example, if it's a sex robot in a brothel, it has a certain programming.
Wow.
Goes to that, act or live action role playing model of this rubber human. Or, for example, any other kind of thing. It's exactly the same. But at any given moment, your floor sweeping robot in your house, it seems like it's just sweeping the floor, but really, it has the full capabilities of the AI in your house.
Oh yeah.
At any given moment, it could just, start barking out orders at you.
Mm-hmm. It's a scary world we're heading into, no doubt.
It is a scary world.
But, I see a lot of...
You never know, right? And you see all these people talking about it and whatever,
right.
But there is going to come a point where the AI is going to turn on us.
Oh, I think so, too.
And if it hasn't already...
like writers,
it's really capable of keeping a secret. So.
I like to write, and I'm into the movie stuff, and writers are really freaking out because I could tell. I have some beautiful stories written that someday I'll do something with, but I could just give some parameters to AI, and it could write me a mob story, and it might be better than some of the stuff you're. Well, that's another thing. The kid's telling me that. In 6 months, I could actually be able to shoot like 30-second scenes. I could literally make a movie right here. I would have no actors, no production costs, none of that.
That is exactly right.
You could use the likeness of any actor you wanted.
I guess I could, because that's what everybody else is doing.
Well, see, that's exactly why in the future, you're going to have a positive ID to make sure you're not deep faking anything. And so that whole thing with them allowing everyone to use this technology for that now is only there to have something happen as a result of it, to make you think someone said something they didn't say.
Right.
And have somebody do something as a result of somebody saying something. They thought it was President Biden saying something to them. And so they went and did something because of that, but it wasn't really President Biden, and now this happened. That kind of shit.
And these deep fakes are getting good, man. They're really getting good.
They are. Well, so that's the thing, is like we were saying earlier, once you've reached the point of you've got lip syncers, now you don't even need lip syncers anymore. You can throw them away.
Milli Vanilli.
You can have a digitally created person. And so every single thing about people and or what attracts people to certain things, all of this has been, dissected. So they have something that's called a Q rating, having nothing to do with the psychological operation known as Q.
Right.
This Q rating is how appealing you are to the public. So if I could take all the information that I've gathered over these Q ratings and why people are popular or what makes them endearing to the public, I could take those and then digitally create something that would be irresistible, that would have all the qualities and traits that made all of those people's Q ratings high. Literally, you could create something that would be irresistible to the public.
Right.
Almost, I almost want to say, and I wish I had an acoustic guitar right now. I just stand up and call it out and say, AI Jesus. You know what I mean?
That's coming too, man. I already saw it where they have this AI Jesus, and people are going to this AI Jesus, and they're getting their advice from not Jesus, So, we're going down some dirty roads with this stuff, no doubt.
The thing is, though, if you think of it on the face of it, what is the one thing you can't actually necessarily do is speak to Jesus and have him speak back to you. You can pray to him in your head. I don't know, Rio, when you pray, do you ever hear Jesus actually speak to you?
Audible voice? No,
yeah. Okay. So what?
But some people do, and they, or at least they believe they do.
Right. But I would say that was on a smaller scale. I would say that people would gravitate toward the ability to want Jesus to speak back to them. They want to tell Jesus their problems and pray to Jesus and have Jesus say, well, I'm real sorry about that, son. And here, feel the power of my love.
But see, that's what they'll do with AI, and people will be deceived. And, if somebody actually believed in Jesus, this could take them away from Jesus.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
They've got the whole voice to skull technology now, right? And you look at all these
voice to skull technology. Is that what you said, Rio?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's pretty interesting how it works. It's done with ultrasonics, and basically you can form a beam with two dishes and give it a focal point. So I could, aim it at you, and you would hear the voice of God in your head, or voice of whoever I wanted you to hear in your head.
It's gonna be.
And nobody else around you hears it, but you hear it.
Whoa.
Because it actually it bypasses. Well, there's two ways of doing it. There's focused audio, which uses air compression and actually triggers sound in your ears. But the other way you can do it is by using radio frequency that actually stimulates your auditory nerves to think that you're hearing sound, even though there's no physical sound present.
Wow.
It's a really amazing technology.
So this is this is like the new MK Ultra, really.
Oh, it's even beyond that,
because you could use it nefariously.
What he's talking about too is older technology, because it's to the point now, JP, where you can go to a museum and stand in front of an art piece and have a description playing in your skull.
Whoa.
There's nothing around you at all.
I am against that big time, man.
Well, here's the thing: it's cognitive liberty, and there is no fence around your skull.
Right.
And so the thing is people have been infiltrating people's skulls for a long time.
Whoa.
We were talking about music earlier.
That's heavy.
That's a skull infiltration, is it not? Because it's going into causing a certain psychology to happen as a result of the lyrics or whatever is being talked about.
So they could
like the museums, they'll use like focused audio technology. So if you stand in the right spot, you hear what's playing, and then when you move away from it, you don't.
Okay.
But the higher tech stuff, you see all these people that are doing all this shooting up stuff. They're all they're all hearing voices. They're all hearing the voice of God telling them to go in and blow these people up or shoot them up or do this or do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the danger is, because that technology, when if you're hearing like audible voices telling you to go do something, and you think it's the voice of God because it's this deep booming authoritative voice,
sure,
and it's calling you by name and going, "My son, you must go in and destroy these evil people in the in this church." So there's 7 people who must die today.
Yeah, and
these people are all out of whack, and they're not only are they hearing that voice, but they're chemically imbalanced, and their brain waves are being messed with and everything else. They go in and do it because they really think that they're hearing from God. They're not
Son of Sam.
They're not acting out of malice. They're acting out of, they really truly believe that God is telling them to go do this.
And social media is a patsy generation machine, because on the back end of the psychology of whatever you click on, there lies the answer. You can find the guy that's, about to go over the edge, the guy that's upset about whatever, so on and so forth.
Right.
And just tip that guy over the edge. Because, a lot of this is, this is figured out. What we're telling you tonight, it may sound shocking, it may sound unbelievable, and we're not really getting into it on too much of a technical level, but everything we're talking about tonight is ongoing. The whole reason the internet exists is to scrape psychologically the population and find ways to manipulate it. You can't run around beating everybody with a stick to make them do what you want them to do.
Right.
You can't shoot everybody and kill everybody, gas everybody. You got to psychologically manipulate the masses in order to control the masses.
Right. So with this technology, they can put things in. Can they take things out? Can they read your mind?
No, there's a lot of speculation that the whole Mandela effect is exactly that, right? It's not that the world is misremembering. It's that their memories are being altered in real time.
Oh, wow. There's been a lot of Mandela talk going on lately.
Yeah, there has. And, you know, it kind of died down for a couple of years, but it seems to be ramping back up.
Right.
But
I've noticed that,
you know,
too.
they're programming this stuff into everything, you know, and kind of bringing it back around. You know, it's in the video you're watching on YouTube. It's in the music you're listening to. It's intentionally put there. Right.
There's hypersonic and ultrasonic harassment that can take place in a lot of different ways, whether it makes you feel good or it makes you feel bad.
Check this out. I knew a guy who was not on drugs. Okay, I can say this, but he was a homeless guy and he was dealing with some psychological issues, I'd imagine. But when they finally got him in, he was saying that he felt like pinpricks were on his skin, and he would, like they would like mildly electrocuting him, and he would hear things, of course, and it was just the strangest thing. And I'm starting to hear stories about this from other people now on the internet, and I'm like, what in the world is going on?
Yeah, it's microwave radiation, dude.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay.
Almost there's so many symptoms that would make you appear to be a schizophrenic.
Right.
Because the same symptoms that present when you go to the doctors, they're going to say you're schizophrenic.
I guess the better way to put it would be it's weaponized microwave radiation.
Exactly.
Right.
And there's targeted individuals.
That's what I wanted to ask, Jimmy. This guy, he was nobody's business outside of having a small police record because he was homeless. So he'd be picking through trashes, peeing on the street, things like that. Why would they, it really sounded like he was targeted.
What's interesting is that I knew a homeless lady, and this is when I was running my company before I got sick. And I had a wireless company. I built cell towers and cell sites for did a bunch of stuff anyways. And so I wasn't sitting around watching the internet or thinking anything weird about anything. I was just out doing my job, putting my wireless stuff in and doing my thing. And I used to go to this coffee place and I used to get this coffee, and there was this homeless lady, with dreads. And she'd always be out there with this dog, and back then I was making a shitload of money, and every time I'd see her, I'd be out there, I'd go get my coffee. I'd, talk to her for a few minutes, this and that. And then I'd, give her some money or whatever, and I'd take off. But over a period of time, I got to know her, and she used to talk about, and she used to take her hand and she used to put it over the back of her head, like above her head. And she would say, "They're hitting me now. They're hitting me with this stuff."
He would say things like that too.
She'd say, "I can't live anywhere because when I move in, they hit me."
Why would they target these poor, innocent, homeless people?
Dude, it's funny that you should mention that because, there's a lot of people that have reported being targeted individuals over the years. And literally, I would recommend that you and your audience find the material of a person by the name of Dr. Carlstrom with a K.
Okay.
Go find his information because he spent years trying to help. He was a targeted individual himself.
Okay.
Spent years trying to help people. And now he's got this whole body of work up there, and you can find all the things that Rio and I are talking about now. Okay. You can find actual, testimonials of individuals. Hey, it's Billy Ray Valentine. What's happening, Billy? So,
we got to wrap it up. We blew that hour like nothing, man.
Well, there you go. And, next time I come back, I'll tell you a story because I played a show with Motley Crue.
Oh, nice. All right, cool.
I'll tell you a little story about that.
That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah. Hey, so don't forget, tomorrow morning on freeworld.fm, we'll be there doing Wake and Bake, and also on YouTube, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean on YouTube.
I'll be there.
Yeah, so I hope you'll stop by, JP. I enjoy seeing you there, man.
Rio, good to meet you finally, man.
Yeah, man. It's been a while, right?
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show tonight. Appreciate that. Aftermath Media, yeah. Well, listen, guys, I thank you for coming on, and we'll see you in the morning, Jimmy.
All right, brother. Take care.
Thank you. Take
We
care.
appreciate you. We appreciate you, man. Thank you.
You as well, man. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. All right. Let's just get this thing cooking again. Whew, heavy, man. Heavy. Like, wow. Oh, that makes me nervous, guys, that these guys or gals or aliens, God knows who are these people or beings or whatever they are, they could get in your brain. Oh, man, that's pretty heavy, man. It's pretty heavy. The music industry is, in my opinion, being used and weaponized against the people of this country and all over the world. There is no doubt in my mind of that at all. As a young musician, young kid, I mean, I wasn't like the, Eddie Van Halen in my high school. I really wasn't. But, well, Dominic, if you're out there tonight, he was. Dominic and I, too, yeah. I mean, we did a lot of barn bands, man, and, I could be honest with you, when you're playing an instrument, man, and you're into that zone, and you are one with that instrument, guitar and drums. That's my preferables, and I'm not even talking about entertaining people. I'm just getting into the music. It takes a part of your soul, man. It gives you energy, or it takes you to a negative place. Now, when I was in bad ways as a child, a young kid, I was listening to a lot of evil music. At least that's how I see it today. Metallica, the usual suspects, and, AC/DC, Black Sabbath. I mean, what are you going to do with that? You going to tell me those people are involved in some kind of satanic, devil-worshipping Illuminati thing? I mean, it isn't the little guys making the money in the business. We know that for sure. Wow, that was crazy. We blew out 2 Zoomers in one night. That's awesome, man. So we will get this up on Aftermath here in a little while. I got to go cut those S-bombs. Thanks, Jimmy. I'll send you the bill. Yeah, I got to get those out, but we'll get that up. So I'm just looking for some, we got our little outro. It was a good show. Not bad. Got away from all the debauchery of the world, I mean, it gets old after a while, thinking people are trying to kill you all the time. It's like, these people are literally trying to kill us. So I know we all love our music, and it's not just, like rock, it's country, it's all kinds of music that just grabs people. My wife's going to be like freaking out because we were talking about Prince. That's her guy. All right, folks, let's put this to a close, man. We did it again. Fastest 2 hours on the internet on Saturday night. The Paradigm Shift. I thank you for joining us tonight. Don't forget our next show is Spooky Actions at a Distance with David Masters, Paranormal at 11. Well, that's my time. And don't forget, Ryan Gable, best of. The whole Ground Zero is just awesome, man. Best place to get that info. Aftermath.media. You listen to a little in audio there. I'm blowing my whole end. I know I am. Folks, you really blew it out. I mean, the show's growing, and I'll have only you to thank, and I highly, highly, highly appreciate that. When I say you're employing people around here, all these kids that aren't doing bugs during the summer, they're working on all this. So you guys are awesome. Thanks for making the show a success. We highly appreciate it. Have a good night. You have entered the paradigm shift, a timely show with the current environment society is experiencing today. With important changes in our culture, we are being conditioned to change our way of thinking, catapulting us into a new, unknown future. Navigate with me, JP, as we journey through this new world every Saturday night between 6 and 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Because his mercy endures forever.